Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. I'm your host, Charlie, and today we're joined by Ayla Sinclair.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Ayla Sinclair is, we met, I mostly just thought she was really cool at the open mic night that I participated in, and I saw her act or her set, and I thought it was really cool, and then I just shot my shot on Instagram, and she said, yeah, she wanted to come, so now she's here.
I was super excited. I don't answer a lot of DMs, but I was eager to come check this out and be a part of it. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, of course. I made her promise not to murder me because...
Yes. Yeah, in all fairness, I cannot follow through with that, so...
Because we were setting up when and how we were going to record, and then she was like, well, can I just come over to your house and record? And I said, yeah, sure. But before you come over, you must promise that you aren't going to murder me. And she said, promise. So I sent her my address.
And here we are. So.
So we kind of just are getting to know each other just now for the first time. Mm-hmm. And we kind of talked about how our backgrounds, we're both like the same age, we're peers, could have gone to high school together.
For sure.
And we're both theater nerds.
Yes. That's something you really enjoy connecting with people on, because that's a lost art form, I think, in today's world. There's not enough musical theater kids in the world.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, and also how you're kind of like using comedy as a way to like be a person outside of motherhood.
Yeah. If you'd asked me a while ago if I would be doing comedy, I would have definitely laughed, and not because it's comedy, but because I would have never thought my life would be doing this. I think at a young age, I was always kind of that jokester kid, and I like making people laugh, but when I started doing theater in high school, I really thought that was my calling, and it, the future is still there, and that doesn't mean that's not something I might pursue later, but for the time being, when I first started doing comedy, I was between auditioning for a local theater.
Oh, cool.
And starting comedy. So I went to an open mic night, and then it just kind of, I don't know, everything just kind of clicked, and, the stars aligned or whatever,
and now your shows are selling out.
It's insane how quickly this has really turned into, not just like a hobby, but like a passion and a career. Mm-hmm. I'm making money, and, I'm a mom, so, being able to provide for my kids is like essential. And so doing something that I get to actually love doing is such a cool experience.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes.
It's so good.
Gosh, yes.
It's giving Marvelous Mrs. Maisel without divorce.
Yeah, it's insane. I started watching that like a few months after I started comedy, and I was like, am I Mrs. Maisel? This is so insane to me. My own life on Amazon. So it's been really cool though, just to like almost see, even for her time, a woman do some amazing things and feeling like I can do those things too, mm-hmm. And really step outside of just the, homemaker role that I've known for the past 10 years. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's important to, like, cultivate those experiences as, like, to be able to, like, express yourself.
Yeah, I think when you even just getting married, you're really over time changing, and that's such a difficult thing. I think we all strive for our partners to love who we are through all the phases, but, at some point, I think I'm guilty of not really knowing who I am. So, and that's like that kind of self, love is so important for not only relationships, but, for kids. Like I mentioned, it's like pouring from an empty cup sometimes if you don't know how to really feed your life with those moments that like feel fulfilling and make you feel like a person. Mm-hmm.
So how old are your kids?
The twins, they were my first. They're 11, mm-hmm. 2 girls, and then I have a 6-year-old boy and a 3-year-old. So 3-year-old's almost 4. Yeah,
almost all school.
Yeah. So he's my last, and sorry, I was trying not to get emotional. But no, it's wild the fact that he's about to start school, and And I guess, when I had him, I was 30, little COVID baby, and I just thought, well, that first year of COVID, I think we were all just really lost in what we were doing. So being home with 3 other children, trying to teach them school, and I'm no teacher. And then raising a newborn and my husband working from home all at the same time,
You started homeschool, or were you just doing like the at-home
The
school?
online, which, for a mother who sends her kids to school and lets them do the hard work of teaching them, that was a lot for me. I'm not horribly tech savvy, I think all of that was just like such a mind-boggling experience. My daughters were, I think for second grade at the time, and so, seeing little second graders walking home with laptops was just, they were doing things I could.
7 years old?
Yeah, like they knew more than I did. They helped me with my phone still. Like it's insane the knowledge that they have. But yeah, so it was a learning experience, and then just being basically together constantly for like a whole year. Now he's like I said, 3 going on 4. So it's like I could never imagine that this time would come, and I'm glad because he needs more social interaction.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting for somebody to do a study on all the kids that were born at that time and see which kinds of benchmarks they're meeting as according to like their peers or their siblings that had different starts and socialization in the beginning.
It is.
I bet they would be like super strong in some areas, and then like other areas they would have to figure a lot of things out.
I have a feeling that these are going to be like the intellectual, like superhuman babies that we've all been waiting for, like baby geniuses, know. And it's going to be really mind-boggling of all the things that they know, except for like the social interaction part. I know for my son, he likes the people he likes, and past that, it's, he might get I don't like you, with you for a while. So, he does like kids. Sharing's not his best suit, but, I think it's just been a really cool experience to have a baby through that. And that was the longest, maternity leave I had. Even though it technically wasn't, but it was so awesome to have that whole experience. But yeah, now I think I'm spoiled. My dog that we had during the COVID, he had like separation anxiety afterwards, and and so now I'm like, is this gonna be my son too?
Oh no!
After we start trying to take him to school, so I hope that's not an experience he has, but I'm definitely ready for him to start his journey in school, and I'm ready to, maybe not have as much going on during my day with a 3-year-old.
I don't know, because by then you'll have 1 at one school and 2 at the other school, right?
Yes, right now I have the twins are at one school. My son's still at his elementary school, and then he'll be starting at the same elementary school, so it'll be 2 and 2, a little spread out, but nothing I haven't had to do with the twins before.
Oh, yeah.
And then just this last year when they changed schools. So I think, now that I've hit the ground running with the first 3, the 4th won't make it too much chaos.
Well, I was homeschooled until high school, and then I took like a few classes at the high school. So I took like theater class and like Spanish class, so that like stuff that I couldn't take at home or whatever.
Yeah.
But I sympathize with all the kids that had no socializing because I had no socializing. Well, I had a lot of grown-up socializing because my mom was a politician, so I ended up like going on the campaign trail with my mom all the time. So I could like work a room, but I couldn't like communicate with people my own age.
Honestly, I wasn't homeschooled, but I think I have that awkwardness that makes it hard for me to interact with people sometimes. So I can maybe understand that a bit, but yeah, I think that's such a cool thing to homeschool. It really is.
I think if
a
you
brave
do it
thing.
right, it's good.
Yeah.
Have you read the book Educated by Tara Westover?
No.
It's a very interesting, it's a biography about a person who was homeschooled and her parents, were, extremists.
Oh.
So they, she didn't have a birth certificate until she was, 18 and, all kinds of crazy stuff. My story was more similar to hers than most homeschoolers these days. So.
Oh, no. Oh, man. See, I just went to the DMV and I had to have, my birth certificate and everything. I couldn't imagine. You never had to have anything like that growing up?
Nope. I never used my birth certificate until I moved to Arkansas.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. What an experience. Well, I guess back in the day, you didn't really need a birth certificate.
No, because I got my driver's license when I was 16, and then I just kept transferring it over to all the different places I was
now
living.
they're crazy.
And my sister said the same thing when she moved here. She never had to use her driver's license until, I think it's just Arkansas. They are the ones that have the rule.
Yeah, they want your blood type and part of your kidney and everything. I'm like, I didn't bring any of that paperwork with me.
I didn't bring my kidney with me.
I left
besides
it at home.
inside my body.
Yeah, it's not an option. You can't have that. It was it's quite an experience and all that. I don't know, the real ID and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know if next will be chips in our hands.
You've come to the right girl if you want to talk about conspiracies.
All right, let's start.
No, the only conspiracy that I think that most media is out there to just control masses.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, mm-hmm. I can't watch the news anymore. It's either heartbreaking or enraging, and it's hard to make people laugh at stuff that's scary. So I don't get a lot of good material from that,
but you do get a lot of material from your kids, right?
Oh, I mean, they basically write it for me, and it's funny because my daughters, they're so excited about what I'm doing. I mean, all the kids are, but the girls are. Wanting to actually start writing their own bits,
Cool.
They're so witty, and my daughter for years has been calling herself the pun queen. So, of course, her first few puns were not really puns, more just observations. So I was like, okay, I guess, but
there's an art to this. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, and you know what? It's wild how quickly they've figured that out, and the twin dynamic is something I'm like, hey, you guys play into that, there's something there, and the connection they have is really awesome. So I always find that to be a cool thing to experience, is that sister connection, but the twin connection.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
my best friend. I've had the same best friend since I was 12. Oh. And she also had twin girls first.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, how crazy.
And then she also had a baby boy in 20, in the COVID.
Really?
Years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So she knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. Shout out to Kristen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's funny. People ask oh my gosh, twins first. How'd you do it? I mean, you don't really get a choice. It's not like you can say, okay, you keep this one for 6 weeks and I'll come back and trade you. It's just, you get a package deal. You got to hit the ground running, and I'm super grateful. My husband was a really good dad, is still currently doing a great dad job, but he we went for our ultrasound. I think we were 6 months along, so getting one a little late, and that's about the time we found out we were having twins. And I could have rolled off the table in sheer panic. I was, 22, so that's definitely not what I was expecting. But, I mean, he grinned from ear to ear and was just so excited. And he's always been, really attentive and a good dad. I couldn't do a lot of what I'm doing if he wasn't supporting me by helping me with the kids at home. So that's really good. But, yeah, it's crazy how after that you would think that having one baby seemed so easy, but having boys after girls is
different.
It's a different beast altogether. And I love my boys and I love my girls. They have their different qualities and stuff, but I think I like to make the joke that if I'd had the boys first, I don't know that there might be one or two. I don't know that I could have had 4. So, they taught me a lot of patience.
My friend always says that she's glad that she had the twins first, because then it kind of like prepared her for the rest of everything. But like she said, it was really hard at first, but then like she can't imagine either of them being born without the other one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's crazy because for the amount of like twin parents I meet every once in a blue moon, I meet someone who has unfortunately not had both twins make it.
Oh, no.
Not to get too sad or anything, but like just those moments where you hear that and you think what could have been. I'm so incredibly grateful that the plan for my life was that I had both my daughters. I think we both had a couple scares with both the girls when I was pregnant. So when they came out completely healthy, they couple little things here and there, but 6 weeks in the NICU.
Wow.
With like an incredible NICU staff. I still think about them all the time, and just how they basically raised my babies for 6 weeks. And again, I was 22, I had no idea how I was going to, be a mom. And they just set these babies up on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by the time I got them home, they were just like, boom, boom, boom. We had medicine locked down. We knew what we were doing. And yeah, like your friend said, it's crazy because I think at one point, once I got them home, I thought to myself, like, how can I do 2 babies? And then I blinked, and it was like I was doing double bottle feedings, like a pro. I'd have one I'm wearing in a, like, carrier and the other one bouncing on the side. So, you just figured it out and felt like a boss doing it. So it was that victory in its own.
Yeah.
And a good village made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So
truly,
very, very blessed. I have really good parents. My dad, I had to tell him to stop coming over because he would just come at like 8 a.m, pounding on the door, ready to come inside and help. Dad, you gotta start calling. He lived right down the road, which didn't help. So he was the best. Not a big diaper changer, but he did help me paint their nursery. There were many times he fed them. And, I think the hardest thing when you're a mom for the first time, but especially a twin mom, is like the isolation.
Oh, yeah.
And just, feeling like you don't talk to any, adults or, anything that's not like centered around babies. It gets really, lonely, and he was such a saving grace in my life at the time, and so I was very lucky. My mom's the best as well. No discredit to her, but she works a lot, and even at the time she was really, really working hard, and so I didn't see her as often, but that's not to say she wasn't there. She was always just a phone call away.
Yeah. Sounds like you had a ton of help.
Yeah, very, very lucky with that, and then once they got, less, throw uppy out of that throw up stage, more of my friends would come over, so that I don't blame them. Baby throw up.
Well, you were 22 also, so 22 is like prime, just out of college
they're
years.
Doing their own thing, and I definitely never felt, let down by that. I think I always kind of had the understanding that, like, they're doing their own thing, their lives are in a different chapter than mine, and that's totally okay. And then, life brings those people back around, and now, a lot of those people I've known since high school.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of close friends that I've grown up with, and I think there's been times where I've been like, God, I gotta get out of Arkansas. Like, I've been here for too long. I know too many people. When you want to go to Walmart looking like,
people of Walmart.
Oh, yeah. I want to look like that, but I can't because there's too many people I know. So, but now it's that cool thing, because I think I always got jealous of the kids. I was a kid that moved around, not as much,
Mm-hmm.
but I did move around quite a few times, and I would get sad because I'd hear people like, this has been my best friend since blah, 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 and I can really think back to people that I constantly talk to. I think, Facebook is the thing that keeps
Mm-hmm.
us connected, but sometimes those friendships don't feel as authentic when you can't really, talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think human, like, face-to-face or even over the phone, like, I'm not a huge phone talker. I do enjoy my texting, but you know, if I'm trying to get to know somebody, or, you know, if I'm missing someone's energy, their vibe, you know, you can't get that through a text. That's like I hear the happiness in your voice when we talk on the phone. That feels more authentic to me, so.
That's part of the reason why I started a podcast too, is because I wanted a chance to like have a minute to sit down and talk to my friends, and and then have other people have a possibility while they're to like listen to like a grown up conversation while they're sitting in the school pickup line or whatever, because like I think that it's important. Like you'll get me on my like woman power soapbox, but
yes, I love that. Get right on it.
Yeah. I think it's important, and I think women are very much like community based, and like they need like that connection with other women. And so like I was seeing a lot of my friends, like I've all my sisters are at least 8 years older than I am.
Wow. Oh, big.
Besides, I have a stepsister that's 2 years older than me. But other than that, like they all were having kids while I was still in high school, so I was like always the aunt. Yeah. And so I've been around kids for like my entire like existence, it feels like. And so like, and then when all my friends started having kids, I was also like just like everybody's favorite aunt friend.
Yes.
And so I kind of got to like just fit in that role, and I got to experience like being my friend's support person.
Yeah.
And like seeing them through what you were describing of like being so lonely because you're just inside your house with a screaming person that only wants you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Or even if it doesn't, it's obviously they do need you, but sometimes it's just like, just stop yelling at me for a second. I need a break, and I'm in my coffee. Warmed it up 6 times in the microwave. Yeah, I think that having like friends like you is what kept me sane through all these babies. I don't know that. I mean, not to get too heavy onto anything, but like, you know, my last child I had like during partnerm, you know, it was like I was pregnant and having issues with depression, and it was I think it was part of the fact that I was 30, having a 4th child, and really not feeling like I'd done anything for my life, which is never the case as a mom. It is so awesome just doing that. But I think when I thought back on, you know, again, I was a musical theater major. I thought I'd be doing something completely different in my life, and I hadn't done any of those things, and it was awesome to see this part of my life through with the kids. But again, 30, having a 4th child, my mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And at the time, one of my close friends, one of my old bosses, she had passed away from lung cancer.
Sad.
And yeah, it was a lot. And I think every time I went in to see my doctor, I was like, so this is happening, but I'm saying it with like one of those like, please don't kill me, serial killer face masks, because I'm like trying to hold my life together. But really just feeling like I had no control over my body or my life or the things happening around me. So I think that was super important to have a great doctor. Like I would totally give her a shout out if it didn't give away my privacy. 'Cause let me tell you, if you find that OB that just like feels like a friend, and you go and, you know, I had C-sections. It was so important to me that I had that, you know, please make sure I lived through this kind of like connection with my doctor. And from day one, I never questioned my safety in her hands. And even when we talked about like medication and stuff, which I didn't want to do because I was pregnant, I just figured, you know, I'll try some natural things and just try and make the most of it. And then COVID happened, and life got really intense for a while. But I think that was really important for my journey to bring me where I was now. As I mentioned, it was kind of that turning point in my life where I was like, you know, 33 is for me. I need to do something. So it was either going to be musical theater or the comedy. I started listening and watching podcasts, you know, like Bad Friends and all those kind of silly fun ones, but nothing that was like really heavy. I mean, I won't lie. It's fair that you asked that I don't kill you, because I do watch a lot of those murder podcasts.
I do too.
Again, musical theater kids here. So yeah, I didn't really watch anything centered around empowerment, and I think that's a good thing that I found, or that you found me, and that I was able to, connect with you. And just the few podcasts that I've heard on your channel, feels like that's why I was like, yes, like I definitely, this is the energy I need. I think there's not enough of the womanhood, and I don't know if you could tell by my whole aesthetic. I'm all very much. I enjoyed the Barbie movie.
She's wearing 2 Barbie merch simultaneously. Oh no, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Barbie hoodie, Barbie shirt, Barbie bracelet, and Barbie shoes.
Yeah. It's a little Barbie craze over here.
And a Barbie notebook.
Yeah. It's a lot, and honestly, I think that it's never that I wasn't for women. It's just that I've not been blessed with enough women in my life that are like, your success makes me happy. You know? And
yeah.
And I'm finding that more and more and more as I take this journey further. The encouragement, and just not just that, but like the people that were always on the side that really didn't say much before, and now it's like, I'm so proud, I'm so impressed by you. Like, what you're doing is incredible, and it's like you never really know what you're doing until like you're like making kind of a big difference doing something, and just those little like, I work in a restaurant. The little hostess, she messaged me and she was like, like, you make me feel like I can follow my dreams, like I can do this, and it's just crazy that it's just comedy.
Well, yeah, but what you're talking about is like innately feminine.
Yes.
Like, it is innate. Like, it is what awesome. We are as a feminine energy.
Yes.
And I think because we're a bunch of feminine people living in a very masculine culture and society, a lot of times the people that you talked about, like, that were like happy for you because of like let's share and be happy, that is innately feminine, but that gets taken away a lot because we have to live in a highly masculine society.
It's weak if we're too feminine.
That's
always the vibe. It's hard because, like you said, it's just in the world, but I don't know about podcasting, but it seems like I see so many more men doing podcasting. Men doing comedy. Those are things that, like, it's hard to break into that field and feel confident doing it without coming across as like, being kind of masculine, I guess.
Well, I noticed that there's like a lot of podcasts out there that are like technology based or business based or things like that. And so a lot of times whenever I tell people out and about that I have a podcast, like, I'll get one of 2 reactions. It'll be like, wow, that's so cool. I've never heard of anybody doing it that way before.
Yeah.
Or like, there's not that many like girl talk podcasts out there. That's so cool that you're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, it's all about parasocial relationships. Or there's another reaction. They're like, what does girl talk mean? Like, what do you do on that podcast? And I'll be like,
what's the thing?
I'm not sure it's for you, but
do you have to ask? Don't worry about it.
You're definitely not my target market. But maybe your wife is.
Yeah. give her the info. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. It's doing anything. I think in today's world, knowing how quick people are to do the whole cancel culture, the whole like, the terrible comments that people can leave. Like, it's almost scary to try and do things like this, but I think the blessing is finding people, like I said, those people that support you, those people that, promote you, the people that, like, enjoy seeing your success. Those people come out so much faster out of the woodwork than all the negativity. And I think that's just something you gotta, if you're wanting to do something, you just gotta jump in and go for it. There might be some of that resistance or that discouragement at first, but, like they told me when the girls were in the NICU, you'll blink and it'll be a faint memory. It's just something that happened, but it wasn't anything that destroyed you. And I think that's anything you do that's following your dreams. You just gotta know it's gonna be rough, and you'll get through it, and it'll be a faint memory.
It's always like starting a first day at the job. Your first day at the job is always the worst day, but then the only good thing about the first day is you could say it's my first day.
I used that move a couple times during the first couple weeks. It's my first day, yeah.
But then after you repetition and get in the habit of different things, it ends up being a lot easier.
It does.
It was the same thing with podcasting. At first, my first season, I'm so grateful that I had a co-host that like we both were in it trying to figure it out at first.
Yeah.
And then we finally like hit a groove, and I felt like I had like the skills that it took to like be able to like continue and hold on that. And I'm so grateful that I had that just like incubator of a first season to just be able to be like, all right, let's just throw it out and see if it works. Yeah. And we've gotten some real cool episodes from that season.
That's cool.
And so
I love that.
Yeah. And so I just like shifted a little bit and changed the season. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be different, and we're going to do a different, and it just is it's a thing where I can just be my space. Yeah. Like I can just do my thing, and that's one of my favorite things about having a podcast. Yeah. Is that like it's just like I can make it be whatever I want it to be.
There's no
no rules. Yeah.
You just make something that makes you happy.
My second favorite thing is that when I tell people I have a podcast, they automatically think that I'm the coolest person in the world. Right?
Isn't that it's so crazy. Like I almost feel like I said, I'm a waitress at a restaurant, so that's like the easiest way to like sell myself. I try, let me just tell you, those are some of my best bits as well.
Being a waitress?
People just so wild, just the things they say, and then, you learn what doesn't work. I had a gentleman one time, and I wasn't his waitress, but he was like, ma'am, waving his arm at me. And I came over and he goes, "There's lipstick on my wine glass." And I was like, "Oh, sir, is that not your shade?" And I thought that was hilarious. But he did not. So he left a bad review about his bad service. And then the waitress he talked to that told him the lipstick did not match it. So that was pretty bad. But, you learn what is okay to say to some people. I mean, some people still think that joke is funny. So I
do.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I still use it, but now I just read my guests better. But yeah, it's some cool stuff. The thing I enjoy most is I've learned so many different things about like marketing or trying to like sell myself, which sounds weird, but so my act, and so I started doing like the QR codes.
That's so smart.
I have this little QR code sticker on the back of my phone. So, and I have an extra one on my server book at work. So I'll just, hey, do you like comedy? This is what I do. And it's the coolest feeling. You're a comedian? We have to come see you. That's just the most amazing feeling. And then they go, well, I think the only thing I don't like when I do that is when they go, well, tell us a joke.
It doesn't really work like that.
I can't. There's a whole setup. I would have to do the whole spiel. And then you're getting it for free. So just tip me for tonight and then come to the next
see my show.
If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see all my shows. So, but yeah, it's kind of a...
That was one of the things that I was like, when I saw you do your set, I was at the end, you were like, my name is this on Instagram, and then I immediately went and followed you because I thought that was so smart, and I was like, I should have said, if you like my weird stories, listen to my podcast.
Yes, it's a way to connect everything, I mean, at the end of the day, I started doing comedy at the open mic, the one that we met at, and it's such a cool one. I love visiting that one. I have such an amazing experience from my first day even. My best friend Lily went with me, and we had just come back from Nashville after going to see Bad Friends live.
Cool.
And so it was like, okay, I'm really gonna do this now. I'm gonna do this, and I think I was sweating bullets. She was like, "You don't have to do it. You could just watch this time." And I think that was actually the same show that I bumped into my friend Sean Chopola. He and I met like 13 years ago, working at a pizza restaurant, same place that I met my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was crazy because, like, again, if you'd asked me, back then, if we would be doing comedy together, it's just not at all what I would have envisioned. So, he was excited, we chatted, we, had a good set, kept going for a few weeks, met a couple more of the guys and stuff. And before I ever really met them or talked about doing anything, any kind of comedy stuff with them, just the community that I experienced at that open mic was just so inviting.
It was.
I mean, the room, and even if it's just a room full of comedians,
Mm-hmm.
they still will just have the time of their lives and just enjoy it, I don't think I've ever, I've probably had one or two bad sets, but nothing like I've ever experienced in some other open mics that I've done, where it's like quiet the entire time and you feel like you shouldn't be there. But the gift in all that is that I've also learned a lot from them, but there's a couple comics that like do a lot in the area, like Conrad Lensmeyer, I think I'm saying his name right. He runs a couple open mics in Fayetteville. Stetson runs the Black Apple in Springdale, along with the New Province in Rogers. So there's so many cool open mics and a lot of cool people that I've met through that. But specifically, and it's cool too because I've gotten to do shows like at Black Apple Cider and stuff. So it feels cool to be hired on my own accord, like on my own road, that's my own thing. But I think the coolest is now that I've started doing comedy with the guys, it's been, oh my gosh, like nonstop. There's, like I mentioned, Sean Chopola, Joe Means, and then there's the Frisco kid, Francisco. And they're just the most supportive. We do writing sessions, we work on our bits together.
So cool.
We really work for the group, and I don't think it's never going to be like we work for our group, but we work because we want to build something quality, and we want to bring in other good comics in the area and give them the opportunity to be a part of these big shows that we're doing.
It's almost like you're like trying to be like feminine energy.
Yes. Yes, right? We like encourage like people growing. And I think, not that I see this like a lot out of people that I've met, but like, the stories I've heard is like there's not a lot of, nobody really wants to be inclusive. Or like everybody is kind of becoming inclusive is what I meant, excuse me. So like, while they are okay with people doing their own thing, it's starting to be like the, like, you gotta come through me, This is the way the world works. But the way the world works has worked this long because no one tempted to change it, And I think that sometimes breaking out of that mold is what, I don't know, brings so much more opportunity and you gotta try new things. And so, meeting Francisco, he's like I get weird around people sometimes. Like, I'm not the best at socializing. He could talk to a tree for 30 minutes and have the most intriguing conversation he's so likable. He's just got such a good energy. Joe, oh my gosh, incredible energy as well. Like, his crowd work is insane. I don't know how he comes up with this stuff, like, off the top of his head. It's intimidating, but like he's such a great like person to learn from. Exactly. And Sean, so if you ever think you've met like Mr. Happy, you haven't until you've met Sean. Like, he's literally just like the most like, hey, like you think he's like, what are you on, man? Because you're just so happy. Like, it's so strange to me, but he's just genuinely like that. And he's well, we call him the Cajundian comedian because he's Cajun and Indian. So he does curry. He makes his own curry. So yeah, I'll have to bring you that sometime because you need to try that. But yeah, it's insane what this group has brought together, and I'm the newest member. And the one thing that just always makes me feel awesome is, you know, the story, as I've heard, is that Sean saw me first, said, "Hey, Frisco, you got to check her out." Joe was like, "Hey, Frisco, you got to come to this open mic." And then that's pretty much all it took. He was like, that's what we were missing, you know? And I think it makes me feel good because I'm like the baby of the group. I guess technically not by age, but I am the newest baby of the group. So when I came in, I kind of expected to always be like, you know, the bottom, you know, I have to wait and work my way up. And it wasn't like I got handed anything right off the bat, like that I wasn't headlining or anything right off the bat, but it was the encouragement that they constantly gave me. And, you know, Frisco just the other day was like, you're the boss of this group. Like, I'm not in charge. This you're the boss. You're the feminine woman in charge. This is what we needed. And I think it's so important to have women doing that. And we feel like that's more common, but like having a man giving you that like get it girl energy. I mean, I that's the kind of men I want my sons to be. You know, I want them being the go get it girl kind of guy. I want an Allen. I'm raising little Allens. You know, we want Allens, not Kens.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've got, like, the best group of Allens in my side, and it's just been
I've only done it one time, and I can vouch for what you're saying. Like, I came out of the bathroom, and they were like, how many times have you done that set? You did so good. And I was like, awesome? This is my first time. And they were like, oh, my gosh, you're so amazing. You know your material so well. And I was like, wow, thank you.
It's awesome. Like, I mean, and they give you, if there was ever a moment where you felt like, oh, maybe I could do better on this, they're always quick to, like, hey, you should try it like this, or you should, you know, some of my jokes, some of my best jokes have been, you know, slightly modified by some of the, you know, things that I've gotten from not just my group that I do stuff with, but the other comics in the area, and the knowledge that comes from, you know, it's, I think just like podcasting, like anything, you have to figure out what you're doing. And some of it is just kind of like a feel around in the dark kind of thing. And then some of it is having like something you can, relate to or kind of look at and have some idea of what you're doing. And I found that in this book called The Comedy Bible. I think it's Judy Carter is the author, and she does, there's a Facebook group. She does lives, you know. Cool. You can learn so much from that, and the coolest thing I think is in the Facebook group you can find comedy buddies. So, you know, Joe, I know he's met some guy from LA who's, you know, writing sitcoms, like cool. The kind of people you want to give you the feedback.
Inspiration, yeah, so that you can see how the path has been made.
Exactly. And so I think that's been like such a cool learning experience, because like yeah, my first comic, you know, our comedy open mic, I just wrote down some weird stuff. I look back at my notes now, I'm like, what the hell was I trying to say on some of this? But like, that's all it took was just some random stuff that happened throughout my day and putting a funny spin on it.
So I was embarrassed because I had a whole plan the day before, and then I read the rules and figured out that you only have 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this in 5 minutes. No. And so then I had to pick another story, and then somehow my coworker got involved and was like coming too, and then he went before me, and he told a story about how he has a pet squirrel and how his squirrel is like his favorite thing.
Oh my gosh, I remember that one.
And then I told a story about how I was skinning squirrels. And I was like, I can't undo this. Like, but I don't have anything else to go on. I can't do the thing that I was going to do. It's going to take too long.
Oh my God.
But I'm already like in it, so I'm stuck.
Committed. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is insane. Yeah, that's a good setup.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I'm already committed, so I just have to do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe that. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I won't be going with him again.
Doesn't sound like he wants to. It's traumatized him. Oh my
No,
gosh.
he was okay. But we're still friends. Don't worry.
Good.
And I love his squirrel.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I can't do anything bad with I can't process animals that I know.
Yeah.
If I know an animal, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like that's why I could never be a rancher.
I couldn't. Like my sister-in-law has a farm, and she'll be like, "Yeah, you guys want to come eat dinner?" Who?
What's their name?
Which one was it, and did I pet them? Yeah, I don't like to know my food intimately like that. I tried being a vegan or vegetarian. It lasted for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half Hispanic, so like we make some fire food. I can't say no to that. My mama making food, so that didn't last long. But yeah.
Anyway, so that's the backstory behind that one.
Yeah. It's a good backstory.
It's better than the actual story.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, anyway, so.
Yeah, let's see.
Do you happen to watch Love is Blind?
Love is Blind. I did a little bit in the beginning. I think like the first season I was into it, and then I was like, gosh, I'm just like too obsessed. I'm like scrolling through TikTok for like, videos on it, and I'm like, I have to know more.
Can I give you a rundown of how I feel about the current season?
Oh, please do. Yes. I want to know if it's worth it.
So far this season, I think this is the first season that they've had an actual person who's been on the show be a part of the producer's staff.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's a little bit more soft on the participants than it was in the past, but I'm not sure. Because there's been a lot of stuff that's come out that said that like it's like extremely rigid on all the participants. They like don't get paid enough. They like they get forced into feeling like they have to participate in different things and stuff like that. So,
ooh, that's weird.
I think that it feels a little bit softer this season. But okay, so are you okay if I spoil some things?
Yeah. Always.
Okay, so spoiler alert. Just fast forward if you don't want to hear about this current season 6 of Love is Blind. Okay, so you start out and there's like a couple of people that they're all talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you about Jimmy, okay?
Jimmy, all right.
Jimmy, he is talking to Jessica and he's talking to Chelsea.
Okay.
And they can't see each other, you know that.
Yeah.
So he's talking to Jessica and he's talking to Chelsea. Jessica is like the most beautiful. Oh. She looks like Barbie. She's
my gosh.
She's like so amazing.
Ooh.
But she has and she has a 10-year-old daughter that is just as like fun and exciting as she is, and she loves.
Stacey.
She like talks about she like talks about how amazing she is the whole time. So he's talking to Jessica, and then he's talking to Chelsea, and Chelsea is divorced, and they both. Like, didn't, like, arrange this, but they both told him on the same day.
Oh.
And so he kind of did not react as, like, he was just, like, super overwhelmed that day.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I give him a little bit of grace. He found out some pretty strong information about both people that he was dating, whatever. But then Chelsea told him that she looks like Megan Fox. When she does not look like Megan. I mean, she looks like, I'm sorry, Chelsea, if you listen to this, which you probably never will. But I don't think you were telling the truth.
Oh, no.
And you kind of look maybe like Walmart Megan Fox.
Like if you squint your eyes and look in one of those fun house mirrors.
Yeah. So I don't agree with her assessment of her looks, but he picks her basically because she said she looks like Megan Fox. In my personal opinion, they're both beautiful girls. They're both the hottest girls there.
Yeah.
But like Jessica didn't have to say what she looked like, and she was more beautiful.
Yeah.
And so he picks Chelsea over Jessica because Chelsea was divorced and he wasn't sure if he wanted to be a stepdad, but it wasn't a deal breaker for him. But he was like, it's easier for me to pick the person that looks like Megan Fawcett and was divorced than to try and be a stepdad to somebody I don't know what looks like. So
it ruins the whole idea.
Then Jessica, after he says, I picked Chelsea, she says, you are going to choke. You're going to need your EpiPen when you eventually see what I look like, because your throat is going to close up because you're going to miss what you pass up on.
Oh, gosh.
And so then he's like, okay. And the worst part about it is, like, Jimmy just looks like a regular dude. Like,
oh, just like a potato.
Yeah.
Just like chill.
Yeah. Literally like a potato. You almost choked like Jimmy's gonna choke.
I need my EpiPen. Oh, God.
Anyway, so they got all the way up until the end of the honeymoons, and they're still in the middle of the honeymoons, and then they like
meet up all the groups, right?
Yeah, all the people met up the groups, and except for Jessica didn't get picked.
Oh, she didn't.
She didn't get picked because she was like his number one, and Chelsea, she was seeing Jimmy and this dude named Trevor. Trevor was 100% in on her. Like, he's like the sweetest, like, golden retriever dude ever.
Oh, I love it.
And he was like, when she told him that she picked Jimmy, he was like, so you picked somebody that was like picking between you and someone else instead of somebody who like 100% wanted you?
Dumb.
And I was like, really? Like, why? Chelsea and Jimmy, like, you both could, and I think Trevor is hotter than Jimmy. So you both could have ended up with the hotter one, but you decided to pick each other instead. Anyway, so they all met each other. Trevor didn't get picked. Jessica didn't get picked. So they only met the people that got matched.
Yeah.
And then that's where it ends. And they only release, like, certain groups of the episodes. So next episode, they have a party and Jessica and Jimmy meet. So I cannot wait for Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need my EpiPen. Oh man, I'm gonna have to start that. That sounds like a good season.
Yeah, it's good.
There was a couple in between that were just like.
Yeah, it was stupid. Like Shayna
wow.
and Shane and.
Oh.
Yeah, so dumb. And Kyle and like all of it. It was just so dumb.
And Dipty?
Yeah,
Dipty?
and Shake. Poor Dipty. Shake was so rude to her.
A monster.
Yeah, did you know that Shake, I like see the clips from the Beyond the Pods. Yeah. Did you know that Shake said, if you let me live in this apartment after the contract, I will say yes to her at the altar?
No. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's such a douche.
Ew. Ew, that's so nasty.
Yeah, Shake might be the worst villain out of all of them.
Yeah, like I think out of all the like reality TV shows I've ever seen that I've hated someone, he's probably like by far the most. And I'm like, and you're a veterinarian?
Yeah.
Like people trust
/ DJ?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't trust my kids with him, let alone any of my pets. Oh my gosh.
Anyway. So that's the rundown. If I was gonna sell it to you,
it's sold.
The Jimmy, Jessica, Chelsea, Trevor, love quadruple.
I gotta see Miss Walmart Megan Fox. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
Yep.
Man, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, you'll have to text me when you watch it.
I will. I'll like look at this potato. Oh my gosh, yeah, that goes in my notes.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to talk about yet?
Let's see. I mean, maybe just touch on this a little bit more. I mentioned that I do comedy, and I briefly touched on my, stuff. So I do have social media. Mm-hmm. I have an Instagram. It's Ayla, Ayla Sinclair, Sinclair, comedy. It's the same name for Facebook, and I actually recently just started a Facebook page for our comedy group.
Ooh.
So we're called Jokes on Us Entertainment.
I'm writing that down.
Thank you. So yeah, Jokes on Us Entertainment. It's our newest venture. We've been kind of doing this for the last, 8 months or so. I talked about them briefly earlier, but it's been awesome. Just the amount of exposure I've gained from working with them. We've done different restaurants. We've done like the Apollo Theater in Springdale. We did we did the airport in Springdale. We had an airplane show over there that was pretty fun. And we have lots of upcoming events. Here on the 15th of next month, so for March, we have Hot Box over in Eureka. We're doing a show at. I think after that we have. Forgive me for.
I'll link all of this in the show notes.
Yeah,
so if you're in
perfect.
the area, then you'll be able to go straight to their Facebook page.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I usually try to keep us up to date on my page at least. On when we have shows coming up. But yeah, end of the month of March, we have Kava, which is Club 509 over in Fayetteville. The 12th, this is actually my proudest booking to date. This one I did with the help of my crew, but it's Blake Street.
Cool.
So that's the cool social club in Bentonville. So for all the members.
I'm not cool enough to know about that, but
I just recently found out about it, so I feel like I'm just on the verge of being kind of cool enough to know. But apparently, it's a really cool social club. Again, I'm just new to learning about it, but it's a lot of young entrepreneurs, the older entrepreneurs.
Yeah, like the ULI kind of people.
This is the people that you want to meet and make connections with. So we're super excited. But yeah, for any Blake Street members, it's gonna be a free show April 12th. The next weekend we have Tequila Fest.
Cool.
So we have lots of cool things coming up. I know we're gonna start doing some traveling shows. We've talked about doing some shows out of state, like possibly Dallas and
maybe like Tulsa or something.
Yeah, we did one in Oklahoma 4 months ago, I think, or 3 months ago. Was the I'll have to link it in the or send you the link for that. But that was a cool comedy club. It was like an old movie theater.
Ooh.
Right, and they still did movies in it.
That's so cool.
But at the very end, the last theater is like an actual comedy club. So that was really actually one of the coolest stages. Or actual venues that I've been to, but yeah, we've just been doing a lot of traveling, a lot of marketing, and we're always looking for more opportunities to get our name out there and stuff. So for anyone listening who's looking for anyone to hire for entertainment, Jokes on Us Entertainment. If you're looking for more of that feminine energy, I'm the one for you here. So Ayla Sinclair and yeah, thank you again for having me here. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. You're awesome. Always invited back.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Okay, well, that's it. You can like, share, follow. You can go to sleepoverpod.com if you want to find out more about the podcast and things that we're doing. We have merch. We have all kinds of stuff. If you want to follow Ayla, I will link that in the show description. I'll also link her Jokes on Us comedy, and until then, hopefully I'll see you at a Ayla Sinclair show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a good day. Love you. Bye.